right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday, October 23rd. Going to do our 4-hour sweep, just our general 4-hour analysis, just to see what's above us, what's below us, what are we looking at for the week, what main levels are we going to be watching on higher time frames here. Just see where we're at, see what's happened. Let's just get right into it. Buttcorn, good old Bitcoin, up quite a bit here. We were just talking about this a few minutes ago. Typical Bitcoin fashion, got a little mini bull run going here on fake news. Yeah. So fake news got this kicking. BlackRock, I think Cointelegraph or someone put out a false news article about BlackRock accepting a Bitcoin ETF. Didn't happen. It's not going to happen. Sorry. So wrecked on that. Funny, typical Bitcoin kicking off on a fake news. The whole bull run last time got kicked off on PayPal's fake news. It's funny how that works. So good run though. Great. I actually bought some spot Bitcoin back here. I think it was back in here. Yeah, like 26. I had bought some and ended up getting a good gain on it. Not bad. It was just random. I didn't see this coming. I was just like, well, it's probably going to retest the high at some point. And just bought a little bit of spot and it ended up being great. So that worked out. But anyway, yeah, we're heading back up on the high. Got a lot of stuff going on up here structurally. It's just, you just want to be cautious. Good game on the run. I'm happy for the bulls. It's just, it wasn't a healthy reason that kicked that off, but we were just talking about this. Nothing's changed here in a year. The entire last year, we have just stayed in this mid to high 20s, between 20, 24, 25. I mean, it was just been dead for the whole year. There's nothing happening here. But we are getting pretty close to the halving. This is our halving crooked line here. Somewhere in here in 2024, somewhere around May-ish, probably. I haven't looked at the actual block calculation lately, but it's probably going to be somewhere around mid 2024 is when the halving goes. Typically, Bitcoin kicks off before then. I think it's in a weird place. I don't know. It's time to start paying attention to it. It's good that it's up. However, we want to be cautious with it. As always, want to be cautious. Hold on. Voice wrecked. We are back on the high. If you look at this, we're not going to spend too much time on this, but it's interesting because it did just make a run up after being dead for months. It's been dead since August, and it just finally made a run. Not a big one, but a run. But it's back on the highs. We still never hit that magical 34 number. So I don't know. Maybe this is going to pop the high. Just be cautious here. You don't want to buy the top. And here's the thing. You don't want to spend your life savings on Bitcoin right here, and then it does this and ends up coming back down. What if it did? What if that did happen? And you just want to be cautious with it is all I'm saying. Looks like it's got a little bit more to go. I don't know. We're obviously going to watch this. I was hoping it was going to completely die so I could get into it. I want to get into some alts and stuff, but on this season, this alt run, it's just not it right now. Good game though. Whatever. Good game. It got kicked off from fake news. So take that for what it's worth. Maybe a little bit higher here. This doesn't look like it's done yet, but it may be close. Yeah, we'll just watch it on the highs. We'll obviously pay attention to this. Good game. What's next? Let's roll through the dollar. Nothing here over the last little bit. It's a contraction. I mean, this is really starting to kind of squeeze in. Like, it's not really doing a whole lot. It's a range contraction. lower highs and higher lows. We are coming off of this ridiculous run. I think it was 12 weeks to the upside. 12 green candles in a row to break. It came from a lower low to a higher high. Like, this is ridiculous. The amount of movement that this made in a very short period of time is not likely to be sustainable to just stay there. So I don't know. We're watching this one. As of right now, we got a whole bunch of levels we're watching on the way down. Group side knows what we're doing here. Yeah, I mean, obviously watching this, we got clear buyers on the lows. Pretty clear. But it is contracting, and we got some geopolitical tensions here with this new Middle Eastern conflict, which is annoying. Who knows how this is going to, affect the markets and stuff. Again, it sucks for the people who are in the conflict area over there. It's a terrible situation. I don't think anybody on the planet wants this to happen except the people who are involved in it. So, on both sides. However, we'll see. It obviously affected gold. We're going to get to that. Oil didn't really affect oil very much. Not going to get too deep into that. But as far as the dollar is concerned, it's still very high. Just keeping it real. Let's just keep it 100 for a minute. Like, this is very high. It's made a very large move in a very short period of time, and it's broken a lot of highs here. There's going to be some selling pressure here, some profit pressure on this. And a lot of this has to do with the euro and other things too. Euro and the yen. The yen especially is at a weird spot. We're going to get to that in a second. But as far as the dollar is concerned, right now, I probably wouldn't be selling the bottom of a very clear range consolidation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Monday. I probably wouldn't be selling this, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I kind of got this like range contraction here. It's getting, the volatility is reduced. It's getting less and not more. We want expanding markets, not contracting markets. It's not really the best. It's not really it right now. But we are going to watch this, and there's stuff up here. Like, we can watch just the obvious supply levels and these kinds of things, and how that matches up with our projected highs and lows. But at the moment, yeah, I mean, I would be happier if it would go lower or higher. If it would do this, that would be something. If it would do this, that would be something. Break that low right there. It's one of those things where it's just kind of contracting right now. Might want to just hang out and watch. We do have a lot of news this week. We got euro rates, I believe, and CAD rates. So, not a huge effect on the dollar other than the euro. Now, the euro rates could heavily impact the dollar index. Remember, this is weighted 57% in euros. That's important. That's a very important correlation, is the dynamic between the euro and the dollar index. So, going to watch this. Kind of not really a lot right now. At the moment, I'm not super interested in selling the low of a range consolidation. However, it is very high, and it would not surprise me if there's more down pressure than up pressure. It just may not be the best entry right now to start selling the dollar, but we're definitely going to watch that. Again, it's Monday. The yen, same situation, except this one's on the low. Remember where the yen as an index is? This is a very, very interesting situation here where this is. This has been down a lot, and it's starting to stabilize on the bottom. I would be very careful with yen stuff here. When this starts to go, it's going to be brutal. Like, it tried to kick off here, not that long ago. You know what I'm saying? And it just stopped. This thought that might have been it. That it just didn't stay up there. But look at what it did. Boom. Everybody who's short on the bottom. You want to be careful. You don't want to be short down here on the yen. Probably not the greatest idea to be selling it right now. However, it is the same situation kind of as the dollar. You do have a contraction. We don't do trend lines here, but to illustrate the price action, we have a contracting market. We have progressively reduced volatility over time. Again, we want expanding markets, not contracting markets, but we're trying to figure out where the expansion is likely to happen. I would just be very cautious with this because there could be an explosive move out of this. And sometimes it comes out both ways. It'll go like that and expand out. It may do that. Sometimes it'll go both ways. But we're really squeezing in here on the yen. Watch the yen this week for sure. We're going to be all over this one. We've been watching this one for a while, but it seems like every week this gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and we're very low. This is an all-time low, by the way. This is the all-time low for the yen as an index. So, when is the Bank of Japan going to step in and intervene here? They keep talking about it. This is going to go quicker than you can even get in it when it happens. So just watch the yen, careful with heavy lot sizes on yen pairs. This could get explosive and whipsaw-ish. So be careful. Euro dollar. Basically the inverse of the dollar index. It's pretty clear inverse correlation. Same situation as the dollar index, just inverted. If you Alt-I, you invert your chart, looks like the dollar index because it is, basically. The dollar index is weighted 57% in euros. So if you know what the dollar's doing, you know what euro dollar's doing. If you know what the euro's doing, you know what the dollar index is doing. One of those things. So, yeah, kind of the same situation here. Not really much to go on. However, just like the dollar, this has expanded. If I could draw a circle with my mouse here. This has expanded the range. We had a higher high and then a lower low. This is a massive range expansion here. So the distance this has had to travel from high to low has been a very far distance in a very short period of time. These kinds of moves like to retrace back to some kind of equilibrium. So if I could draw straight lines, but I think you understand what I'm saying. We're really only looking for longs here, but it just may not be the right entry right this second. Just like the dollar, same thing. It's just the inverse of it. We get a lot of selling right here, selling pressure on the euro. The euro also is the strongest currency this morning by a lot. I don't know what's going on with the euro, but it's way far ahead of everything else. I don't know if eventually that's probably going to chill out, and you would expect some kind of a pullback or something. Now, whether it goes all the way down is another story, but same thing. I'm not really interested in selling it right here, but yeah, I probably want to be careful. I don't really want to sell buying it either. I don't want to buy the top of the range consolidation, just like the dollar index. I don't want to sell the bottom of the range on a dollar. I don't want to buy the top of the range on the euro, if that makes sense. However, as far as the structural move is concerned, it is probably more likely to go up than down. It just may not be the right entry right now. Again, it's Monday. We do have some news on the euro though this week. We got rates tomorrow, I think. No, tomorrow's PMI is Wednesday and Thursday. We got CAD rates on Wednesday and euro rates on Thursday. So on Thursday of this week, a lot more news this week than last week. Last week was pretty boring. We do have those euro rates coming in on Thursday. So probably Wednesday sometime we'll take a look and see where this is and see if it warrants a decision. See if there's any decision that could be made here. We already know what we're going to be looking for on the upside and the downside, but right now don't really want to buy the top here. I could understand how this could go a little more. This is just, it's doing this. I could understand how this could end up running up here, barely popping that high right there, and then slamming back down. That would make sense. That would make more sense than to try to do anything with it right this second. Got just clear rejections right here. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But if it were to break that high right there, that would make a lot of sense. Let me see where we are as far as our projection. Yeah, it would have to be a big full daily candle today to do that. It is possible that that happens today, but yeah, I don't know. Keep in mind that, this, if you want to do the traditional charting thing, which I don't do, you kind of got this rising wedge situation. The price action that represents is legit. Just don't trust any lines. Like, lines don't mean anything. Don't trust the lines. But the price action that it represents, it would make sense for this to go higher and spill. We'll watch it. Again, if it breaks that high, that's going to be a different story. We'll be tapping into sellers who have not previously been stopped out at break even. There's going to be buy side liquidity up there. We'll wait for that. Big nasty drop right there. Yeah, there could be activity up here higher, and we'll watch and see how that all makes sense. I don't know what all this is. Probably lower time frame stuff up here from before. Just again in its simplest form, just the supply and demand part of it. We'll watch that, and then we watch for the manipulation above and below those levels. There's a lot of times there'll be a little dip below, or a little pump above, and then the real rejection. So we'll see here. We're just kind of right in the middle. We're kind of close to the middle on the high end. We'll watch euro dollar. We do have some rates coming in this week on Thursday for the euro, so we'll see where that is. Next, euro pound. This is up quite a bit. About into the money here. We're close. Been waiting for this. It barely tapped into it the other day and came down. If this were to go any higher here, I don't know what this is, probably lower time frame stuff. We're just kind of looking at the macro structure right now of things. We are in a higher high, so we want to be cautious here. Technically, we have a higher high. So if you're buying this, you're kind of buying the top that could potentially pull down a little bit. I would rather see it go just a little bit more, get into this money up here above this consolidation. We had a very dense consolidation right here, and I know this was pretty far back. It's back into May, but just in theory, price action theory here, we had a dense consolidation. There tends to be buy side liquidity above that. People talk about liquidity pools. There's definitely some there. That's why the money bags are there. We're waiting for it to get into the money. And that would be a good place for longs to close, because you need suckers willing to buy it at a higher price if you want to sell it, right? If you got in down here and you want to sell your position, or say you got in right here and you want to sell your position at a higher price and make a profit, you need some suckers willing to buy it at a higher price. It's a zero-sum game. Trading is. There's always a buyer and a seller for every transaction. It has to be. So if you want to get out of a position, you want to take profit on a long that you bought down here, then you need some sucker willing to buy it from you at a higher price. You need to transfer your bags to someone else. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that buy side liquidity, and for people to have a reason to buy, either getting stopped out on their shorts or trying to buy the breakouts after a big run up like a doofus. So we'll wait for that. There's a really good possibility that we get some real activity up here once we get above this consolidation. So this could be something we're still watching this. We were watching this last week on Euro Pound. There's likely going to be a shift in that dynamic between the euro and the pound, where we have, and it could be pound strength coming in, and we're going to get to that. We're going to watch for pound strength. That could make euro pound come down. It looks like we're almost close. So the euro weaker relative to the pound. It could be pound strength that actually causes that. So we're going to come back to that. We'll get there. But it's just something to watch right now. We got a structural thing. If it breaks the high, like say this ends up here this week, there may be a very high probability pullback here. We'll come back to that. Euro yen. Again, the yen is just a turd. The yen as an index has been consolidating on an all-time low. So, likewise, all the yen pairs have just been doing this. This is pretty wild. It's been going on for a long time. Been very tight over the last little bit too. If you look at the majority of the density in here, this tight area here. If this were to pop up a little bit, I would not be surprised if it slams back hard the other way. So again, just be careful with this. Remember where this is. Remember where we are here. You got to zoom out to see it. We're way up on the high as far as the market cycle is concerned. The long-term cycle, we're way up. We got the yen at an all-time low. Eventually that's going to change, right? It's not going to stay at an all-time low forever. So when the yen pops back up, there's going to be some serious selling pressure here on euro yen. It's just, may not necessarily be this week. We're just talking about structure here and just overall the macro game, the game theory of it all. We are on a high right now. So we just want to be cautious. How many 4-hour candles are there in the week? And where could this potentially end up? Is it more likely to do that or more likely to do that? Trading is about probability, which is more likely. So we'll see. We do have a previous high here. That's going to be your all-time high on euro yen. Possible. That's probably within a weekly range to hit that. Yeah. So we're within a weekly range of breaking the all-time high on euro yen. Go figure. So we'll watch that. Anything above that high is going to be uncharted territory with no reference to the left. The problem with buying into it now is you're on the high. Do you really want to buy that right now? Probably not, but we'll see. Depends on what your strategy is. And, if you're looking at like 1 minute, 5 minute chart stuff, that's different. But remember, we just broke the high and we're on the way up. Very, very, very high right now. We'll watch it though. Just as far as what's going on with it, we're trying to just take a look. What's the right decision? Maybe no trade is the decision there. All right, Euro Aussie. Let's see. Let's see, Euro Aussie. Yeah, we're back into sellers here. We're back into a previous consolidation. We're above this right here. So we are in buy side liquidity up here. We're getting there. So this is definitely going to be something to watch. Had an awesome trade on this. That was just, God, that was just money. I wish I would have just gone all in. 225 pips, just immediately bang to the pip. Within the spread. Got it within the spread. Perfect. Absolutely perfect trade. Man. Going last week. So. Yeah. We're poking out here. Just cautious with this stuff, man. We'll say that this is invalidated. When those levels get invalidated, it's time to start being careful. We're really pushing it here. We'll watch it on the projected high of the day. Anything up here on these previous highs, again, just simple supply and demand. We won't get into the lower time frame strategy stuff yet, but just a general idea on what we're looking at. Same thing here. Just remember that this is already very high. It's up on a higher high. You want to be cautious buying this stuff like this. These parabolic runs up on the high. Remember, we're coming back into a heavy density back here. So we'll watch that. We're going to keep an eye on the levels. It's like if we have a blowout today, that's going to put us way up there. Just, if you're going to buy into it, just be cautious is all I'm saying. It is Monday, by the way. Things like to continue whatever they were doing from Friday on, Monday, Tuesday kind of situation. Euro Kiwi, this was probably the best trade right here. We were in here too. We caught all of this. Just absolutely crazy. 640 pips. Jesus. We had it all. Just should have just stayed in it. Yeah, I mean, we're just same thing. Very, very sharp move, very sharp, fast move back into a big, dense area back here. Probably want to be careful with this. Again, caution. Caution is the word of the day. If you look at where all these things are, do you really want to start buying that now? After 650 pip move up with no pullbacks at all, coming into a dense area of consolidation, do you really want to buy the top after that? And it's just, again, it's about probability. It doesn't mean it's not going to go higher by another 20, 30 pips. We're just talking about what's going on and whether or not it's a good idea to even bother with it. What's here to the left? Say it breaks that. You're going to have this kind of situation here. It's just layered zones up here. Layered over and over. Different time frames. If you really wanted to be anal about it, you could wait for something like that. Wait for it to break this little swing high right here, which it looks like it's close to doing. Hasn't done it yet. Yeah. So the high of the day today for group people, projected high. Yeah, definitely on Euro Kiwi. I'll leave this up here right now, but yeah, this is that's definitely going to be something I'm going to be watching. I've already got it marked for a reason. Euro Kiwi, I mean, I think this one's obvious. Eventually this is going to pull back and put in a red candle, right? We're going to try to figure out where that is by the end of the day today. If it does run up and put in a full day, that's going to be money. Matter of fact, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to set an alert up there so we don't miss it. 1 second. Let me just make sure that I know when that's coming. If it does hit, I want to know when that's coming. So we'll watch that next. Easy money. That one's going to be a monster. I know we got some good stuff coming. EuroCAD already rejected once. One more break of that high. I'm going to be looking to get into there. You can see back here to the left, we're just back into the point where our sellers were correct. Waiting on that. Come up a little bit. The euro has been very strong. We do have rates this week again on the euro. So there could be a big shift in the euro. By the time Thursday comes around, maybe this is doing this. And then, maybe we get that on the rates. Which is more likely? Is it more likely to moon from here or pull back from here on a rates decision on Thursday? You know what I'm saying? We'll see. We'll see. But, Thursday, I think it's Thursday. We got CAD first, I believe, and Thursday is rates. So likely going to be a volatility event. It's kind of what I'm saying. What else? So obviously we're watching this. I mean, last place where your sellers were correct. They're getting taken out here. It already rejected once, but I could definitely see that happening again. We'll obviously watch the low end of this whole situation right here. On the way down. Yeah, it's within range to break that actually. This would be ideal at this point. Yeah, somewhere in there layered. We'll watch that. One second. Yeah, so that, obviously watching that on the high, we'll see if for some reason it were to go down this week, we would be watching down here for a low. We already know what we're looking for there. Just trying to get this set up on the up end, on the upper boundaries and the lower boundaries. Got a inflection point right there that may get hit. That never got taken out. So something here to watch. I'm going to get ready for that. EuroCAD. Pound CAD, moving on. A lot of this stuff hasn't changed from the last few weeks. We're already ready for all this stuff. Watching these main levels where we know there's likely to be activity. We've been in these consolidations. Not really much has changed. Look at the last, week here. Well, actually, hold on. Let me mark this real quick. That never even resolved. Those buyers never got taken out. This never got resolved either. This has just been in a tight flat range here on pound CAD. Yeah, just going to wait for this to go a little bit lower. And if it eventually gets lower, I'd like to buy into it again. We had this, man. God, we had this. Same thing here, like some of the others we've been talking about where we had this big, huge extended move down. We had this down here. I remember I had 6 lots on it right there. It dipped low. The one day I couldn't look at it was the low. And boom, ran all the way up. Easy run. Just couldn't mess with it. We had this down here on pound CAD. That one's going to haunt me. But overall, you can see we're just kind of market cycle wise, we could just got a big range consolidation here. Sellers on the top, buyers on the bottom, loosely, that kind of thing. If I could draw a straight line with this mouse, an ergonomic mouse, and it just doesn't like to draw straight lines. It's like at a 45-degree angle. Yeah, so the point being, we're working our way up back to the high of what's very clearly going to be a range consolidation. Like you can really start to see this just become a consolidation. So we're closer on the high end of it. It looks like it's going to run up and break that high. That would make sense. It's a little spike high. So watch for this to possibly run up on pound CAD. Pound is also strong. So what else? Pound dollar, again, subject to the movement on the dollar. This one's kind of off because of the dollar index. It's down a lot. Remember, the dollar is up a lot. Well, we had that right. Jesus, we had the top on that. Called it. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, this is the same thing here. I mean, it's just a range consolidation that hasn't fully developed yet. I mean, it's just a range here. Is all it is. Buyers on the bottom, sellers on the top. It's a range consolidation. We're just kind of, I don't know which way this is going to go first, but we know what we're watching. Again, these are 4-hour candles, so there's not too many of them in the week. I'm trying to figure out just a general direction, what's likely to happen. If for some reason, yeah, I mean, this is just you can see what's going on here. It's a flat consolidation. If this were to come up to the top of that range a little bit, I could see it pulling down. If it were to roll over, it's not likely, but it's possible that it rolls over into a range here, comes back, barely breaks that low right there, and then bounces again. That's another possibility. It's just right in the middle. We're right in a consolidation right now. There's not really much to say as far as our effective trading range. You have a high here and a low here, and we're just kind of right in the middle of it. Want to stay out of the middle. Probably not a good idea to mess with it too much in the middle. And it's not really much here to go on. Not much has changed. Skip it for now. Pound yen. Again, the yen is at an all-time low. That's the important factor here. I would be very careful trying to be long here. And again, look at where we are within the cycle. We're in a consolidation on the top. We're kind of distributing on the high, technically have a lower high, and the yen is at an all-time low. And if that yen pops off the low, the yen is an index, this is going to do this. It's going to come down hard. So we want to be careful. Again, caution, a lot of caution right now. Also, just again, the obvious low and a high right here. We're right in the middle. It's not the best place to make a decision. You have kind of equal opportunity to get stopped out on either side, go one way or the other. As far as your direction is concerned, As far as right now, we're kind of at the top of a consolidation. It's just not the best place to make a decision, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's a couple of these. It's just right in the middle. It's right in the middle, and it's not the best place to make a decision. Sucks. Clear inflection point right here. It's hard, hard to make a decision there. Skip it for now. There's other stuff. There's plenty of other stuff. Pound Aussie. Well, we had that one too. Nailed it. Yeah. I mean, gosh. Same thing. I mean, is a lot of the other pound pairs. You see a lot of the same kind of stuff on the pound. See a big, consolidation basically. And they tend to be toward the high end of the consolidation, but near the middle in the overall structure. It's just not great here. I would, maybe I could see this breaking the high. It kind of looks like pound CAD a little bit, where I could understand how this could end up running the high a little bit. Possibility. It's possibility. Let's see. Yeah. It's definitely within a weekly range to run up. We'll watch this one. Same thing. I mean, we'll probably watch the Aussie to see what to do with this one. The pound again is strong today, but just back on the high. Is it going to make a lower high or a higher high? It made a higher low. We'll assume that it's going to break the high. I would assume that eventually this is going to end up doing this, but we don't know if it's going to pull back first like this. God, if I could draw a straight line. We don't know if this is going to pull back, go into a consolidation, and then break the high. That doesn't mean you buy it right now, just because it looks like it's going to eventually end up higher. Its trajectory is higher. Where it's likely to end up in the future, its trajectory is likely to be higher. But that doesn't mean that it's a long right now, because what if this whole thing slams down like this, pulls back into these buyers, goes in, bounces, goes into a consolidation, and then breaks the high next week? You know what I'm saying? What if we go down for the rest of the week and then go and break the high? That doesn't mean that it has to go now. And that's the point. And because we just made this move up here, we've already moved. We've already made the move. So it's caution again. It's not super clear. Pound Kiwi, we were talking about this one. This one's going to be money. Same situation. We had this one too. Unbelievable. Had it. 700 pip run. God, we had it. I mean, to the pip, we had it. Had the target right and everything. 700 pips. Jesus. Should have held it. It's insane. I mean, if you'd have put 2 lots on this, you'd already been done. Crazy. We had it multiple times on this. Just had it right. A good game, though. We're on the way back up now to that point. That's going to put us at the high of the day. This is one we're watching very closely. Pound Kiwi. Be ready for that. Once that gets a little bit higher, that's going to be money. It's going to definitely be worth a watch. This is, again, very, very big move in a very short period of time. Those kinds of moves are less likely to be sustainable, especially when you start getting back up here to these, structural inflection points up here, consolidations. Careful. Careful being long on it. I hope that it makes it up there. That's going to be money. Something like, I guess it's within range to break the high, but geez. Even something like this, just for a first attempt. Even right when it gets back up into those sellers, something like that, we'll tune it and refine that a little bit. Maybe not that far down, but if it were to make a full weekly candle run, that trade statistically is likely, which is crazy. That's just ridiculous. It's 400 pips. So, that kind of thing is possible, and we'll take a look at it. It would likely be, you would run it. I mean, even something like that is insane. I mean, that's a 1 to 3 almost. Could run it back into something like that. Yeah, 1 to 4.3. That's a possibility. And if it barely popped that high, I might even try it again. So we got a couple levels up here we could definitely shoot for up here. I have a feeling there are going to be some really good trades coming on this. You could even layer this in twice like this. Got some possibilities coming here. Big runs, multi-100 pip runs. We'll come back to this. We're going to wait and let it get up here first. It's going to just be obvious. Pound Kiwi, don't miss that one. Euro Kiwi is probably going to be the same. Aussie dollar. Well, that looks like crap. Just remember where the dollar is as well. The US dollar. That dollar, eventually the dollar is going to come down. It's been up for 12 weeks in a row and then went into a consolidation, like distributing on the high. Eventually, this may break that low and then do something like that. It looks like it's putting in this flat low down here. Of course it could come off the low. This is what it is. The question is it going to smack the low and then do that? That's the big question. And where might something like that happen? I don't like going back this far in time. And I've talked about this many times about going back like a year, looking back at some level. That money's not there anymore. We can't expect that there's going to be some reaction here because these ultra diamond hands have been holding for over a year. It's not how it works. It's not how the market works. So I'm not going to sit here and look back at a level from October of 22 and expect that all of this money is still on the order books in the same exact configuration. These diamond hands have been holding for over a year, and they're saying, "Oh man, darn, it's coming back to stop me out at break even after a year." That's ridiculous. So there's a logical problem here. There's a logic problem with expecting that this is going to make some reaction here. If you think about how markets actually work, it'll make sense what I'm saying. Now, the other factor here is that humans look at things like this and make decisions. So there may be decisions that get made, but if you think about it, this is based on something that it's very unlikely that it's true. Just a thought experiment. We talk about this a lot. Nobody ever talks about that kind of stuff, about what the actual mechanics of the market are. People like to look back, 4 or 5 years in price on a monthly chart and expect that some level's going to hold. Why would you expect that money's still there? Like, think about it. For that level to hold, that means there's some contract settlement happening on the back end globally, and there's a lot of volume still at that level. We've been through a lot since then. Why would you ever believe that money is all still there in the same configuration a year ago? That doesn't make sense. But humans look at historically significant levels and make decisions. But, we talk about this sometimes. People get triggered about that one, but they know I'm right. A lot of times the stuff will barely break the low and then start coming back up. So we'll watch this. We'll watch the dollar, especially for a pullback down on the dollar. Yeah, I would rather time this with the dollar index, but there may be a very good trade coming here. Is kind of the point. This has been down a lot. We're way, way down here. When the dollar eventually comes down, Aussie dollar is very likely to lift off the low. So there's that. Aussie yen. Very similar. Not going to spend time on this. Same as the most of the other yen pairs. We're just in a big range consolidation here, and the yen is at an all-time low. Cautious with this one. If the yen gets very strong, there could be some down pressure here. Probably not a good long at the moment. It's already bounced a little. Right back here would have been the long. This would have been the trade. The first time that this was tested, that would have been your trade. That was a good run. Looks like we're pulling back through it. You would look for something like that to break, maybe. And as soon as that breaks, it might pop back up. We'll watch this. Again, careful with the yen stuff because of where the yen index is. The yen as a currency index is at an all-time low. It's hovering on the all-time low, so just remember that. Eventually that's going to change. Aussie CAD. God, my neck hurts. We do have some CAD news this week. I believe it's Wednesday. We got rates on the CAD. Interest rate decision. So we'll see what that's going to be. I don't really expect a huge amount of volatility. This is another one of those that if you look at where it is in structure, it's very low. It's time to start paying attention to this. Again, we don't want to go back too far, but we're back on previous lows. We've been down a lot. You can start to see it starting to stabilize a little bit. Actually put in a higher low. Lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, higher low. Uh-oh. Starting to stabilize a little bit down here maybe. Going into this range consolidation. We'll call it a base level consolidation down here. A lot of times when something's been down in its overall market cycle, we've stepped down multiple levels in the cycle, it'll start to kind of chill on the bottom and go into this kind of base level consolidation. And eventually it'll start making higher lows. You'll get this transitional period here where you go from lower lows to higher lows, but it's really a range. It's really just this range that happens on the bottom, and eventually that'll start to step up higher. So it might be time to start watching this for the bottom of the consolidation. Whenever this dips down, maybe it's time to take some attempts on this. Any lower low, obviously, any lower low on this, if this were to come down and do something like that, we'll be looking to buy into it again. Easy decision. But again, these are 4-hour candles. How far we can move here within the week. Yeah, so interestingly enough, our statistical low of the week would be a lower low. If this were to go down, as of right now, it's only Monday. As of right now, our potential low statistically could be down there. And again, our high could be up here. Again, very useful. This is like cheat codes to understand this kind of concept. Is within range. It's within its statistical range for the week to make a lower low. So if that were to happen, we're obviously going to be looking for that. Right now, it's obviously not very bullish. It already bounced the other day where it was expected to. We'll watch this. We got rates on the CAD on Wednesday. This is just not great at the moment. Skip it, but possibly something later. Aussie Swiss, this is one we definitely want to watch. We're waiting for this big, massive weekly level down here to hit. We've been waiting for months at this point for this to get down to here. Still hasn't done it. Crazy because we caught the bottom here too. Just painful to watch that go up like that after being so close on it. If this breaks that low, we're going to watch that. I mean, again, you got to go back so far. There's no reference here to the left. I mean, what are you going to do? Go back to March of 20 before COVID? We're going to go back to the COVID lows and expect that that's going to hold? That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous thought process. So, not going to do that, obviously. But we'll watch and see where we are. It actually still looks bearish. I'm curious to see if it's going to hold this equal low, but this was like kind of last ditch effort here. And it did hold. It did come down here and bounce and hold, and we'll see. I don't know. This doesn't look very good, obviously. We'll see what happens down here. It's something to watch for sure because it's been down for so long. This has really been taking a beating here because the Swiss franc has been so strong. We got a lot of all-time highs, and we're going to get to one in just a second. We're 2 away from one that's on an all-time high right now. That's a Swiss franc pair. Skip that for now. Boy, that was money on CAD yen. Well, let me take a sip of my coffee here. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Sorry, I just saw the chat there. Group chat. Good morning. I'm going to run through our 4 hours here to see where we are. Get an idea on where we are for the week. What are we looking at? What's above us? What's below us? What do we need to be watching for this week? Because setting up our charts early and understanding what our potential is and what we're looking for early on Monday, that's probably the most valuable thing that we do all week. Probably the most overlooked thing that's the most valuable is setting up what we're looking at as we move throughout that weekly range. We're going to already be ready. We'll be sitting there waiting for things to happen. And, an hour on Monday morning in London session, we figure the whole week out and then we just sit back and wait. So that's kind of how it goes. CAD yen, money off of that high. But as of right now, consolidation very tight. Like a Toiger consolidation. Coming off the low of it, I would tend to lean toward the upside. It's just not a good long entry right now. But if this were to dip back a little bit, I might take a little pullback entry on this. Again, the logic being this, just price action wise. Buyers on the bottom, sellers on the top. In its simplest form, markets move in range consolidations. Then they move away and go into another one. Then they move away and go into another one. This looks like this could potentially retest a high, and honestly, it'll probably end up here. Last place, your sellers were correct, and have not been taken out recently within recent price action. That's going to be a thing up there, and that would be normal for it to go break the high like that. If that were to happen, I could see that. It's definitely within range. That's within, that could happen tomorrow. Yeah, you got a big weekly range here. A lot could happen here. Actually, depending on which way this goes. We could retest the high this week if it goes straight up. It could come down and break that spike low if it goes straight down. I think it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle. I think what's likely to happen here is probably, this kind of situation. More consolidation. We'll see what's up with the CAD rates, though. Nothing at the moment. Waiting on the yen, too. All right, so this one. Swiss yen, all-time high. It's never been higher than it is right now. Today. Or Friday, actually. But same. It looks like it's going to break the high. This is the all-time high on Swiss yen. Just remember where you are here. This is completely insane. I don't know what to say here. This is pretty ridiculous. For 3,000 pips to the upside without a major correction, without a lower low. This has not made a lower low in 3,000 pips. It's up 22% this year. Let me repeat that. We have a currency pair that's up 22% this year. That's a major pair. This is major. Swiss yen has good volatility. This average is 130 pips a day in movement. It's up 22% on the all-time high right now. So if you're a swing trader, you want to be probably paying attention to this as the week goes on. Any kind of assuming this is going to go break the high again, anything up here, you might be looking for something like that. And if we can catch this up here on a broken high, just the pullback there could be very good. You're talking about 150 pips just for a mild pullback. If you're a swing trader, again, it's an all-time high. So interesting move here. We've been watching this one. We keep trying to catch it. We keep catching it, and it keeps going and breaking the high. So we're going to try it again. Already know what we're looking for up here. There's no reference to the left, so we use the statistical range to try to figure it out. That's the right way to do it. Got the cheat codes for that. Dollar CAD. Let's see. Yeah, again with the dollar here. Got CAD rates this week too. This kind of thing looks to me like it's gonna just kind of consolidate up here and maybe eventually pop the high. But it's not a good entry right now. That's probably not a good idea to start buying into it. The dollar itself is in a weird spot. This is like a 3-line strike on higher time frames. I bet we'll see something like that. You get a big sharp drop and you get this grind back up to the point where it drops. It's likely to it's likely to come down again, honestly. Just curious. It's like on a weekly chart or something, you'll probably see it. Yeah, I mean, got a big sharp drop and then this grind on the way back up. This kind of stuff likes to fall back down. Probably no trade at the moment on that. I wouldn't sell it yet. If I had a choice, I would rather be short. If I had to choose, I would rather be short. Come back to that. What else? Nothing really there at the moment. Yeah. So what's going on here? That's invalidated. S&P. This stuff has been messy lately. No bounce here, man. So we have a new low. So now we have a broken low. We'll watch this. I almost don't even want to mess with it. If it's not going to go up, if it wasn't going to bounce from a range low or a higher low, I'm probably just not going to mess with it right now. We're going to have to go back. How far back to May? Yeah, this stuff just doesn't look very good here. We'll watch that. I mean, I hate to say that, but if this isn't going to hold, like if this wasn't going to be a range here like this, and it still might, sometimes this crap will just barely break the low and then wick back up like this, and it'll be all the way up here at the end of the week. But I'm not going to bet on that right now. This is obvious. I'm going to wait for this candle to close on the 4-hour and just kind of see what happens here. But we're back. We are back into. See, this is the problem. We're right back on a broken low. This could actually be a good day trade. It just depends on whether or not you want to mess with it. This whole thing may wick back up, and it's just where it is. We're right back into a consolidation. Technically, this kind of is along. We always shoot for the low end of it. It's really this, but we always shoot for the low end of it. Man, it's annoying because, I don't know. It's probably going both ways here. I'll just wait and see if it puts in a full low of the day here and maybe mess with it. I don't know. We'll watch it. Wrecked on the S&P. Nothing to say. Watching it on the low. I had a NASDAQ long that got stopped out, which is fine. It's $51. Not worried about that. Be back in it. Find something else. Dow. Yeah, if this stuff's all going to come back and break the low, they're just already down. Like, it's not something you want to start selling now, is the thing. We're already down back into these consolidations. Yeah, just messy for a Monday. Yeah, I'm not doing anything here with this. It could potentially go a lot lower and higher at the same time. Here's the problem with selling it. What if this just barely smacks the low and just comes, this is a very clear inflection point right here. What if this just is just a range low and we don't know it yet? It barely breaks the low and then comes up here for the rest of the week. Stuff happens all the time like that. You don't want to start selling something that's down on a low that's been down that much. These are 4-hour candles. This is months worth of price action here to the downside. It's just back on the low. I'm not going to sell the bottom. Sorry. I'm not going to sell the bottom. I may not buy into it heavy here, but if this will break the low, we'll take a look at it. Want to know when it succeeded its low for the day, which would be lower. Just in its simplest form. Again, we've got, this whole thing right here. Yeah. You can see it right there. This whole situation right there. And we're in it now. I generally like to shoot for the low end of it, but at the same time, that's not very strong. That would be a lower low to kind of get into that. Yeah, crazy here. There's more here. There's just like layered lows here. Just be cautious with it. I'm not trying to sell this. If this were to run down a little bit more, maybe I'll try it again on the bottom, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Again, just to look at this quickly on a 15-minute chart. If I could get this out of the way. Yeah, we're pushing our 4-hour low, somewhere into here. If this were to dip all the way down into here today, maybe this pops back up and holds. I don't know. We'll mess with it later. It's obviously on the way down, but it's so low that I'm personally not going to sell the bottom. Everybody can make their own decisions. I'm not selling the low. I'd rather wait or risk my capital on something that's in a better place. If it were to come all the way back down and break the low and down into there, maybe I'll take a look at it just on a whim. We'll wait for that to fall. Same situation here on the NASDAQ. We're just back into buyers here. And other than that, it's going to be lower. It's definitely within range. It's just beaten down. That was money. God, that was money. This trade right here. Last time we were down here, that ended up hitting target, the original target. But now that we're down here again, back on the low, that's not going to be within range today. Oh, maybe it is. All right, so we'll assume that this is going to be invalidated. Gosh. It's going to be a whole thing right there. Actually going to be ready for this. There may be another attempt here on a lower low. If it'll just completely flush out. Yeah, of course. This so happens to line up perfectly with our projected low statistically. I'm going to wait for the low on there today. That could be interesting. I think that's obvious. That it would be a lower low too. This is just obvious. That a shot. Get an alert down there. I'll just wait for it to flush the low out today. That may be something, actually, if it'll get down there. That actually might be something. We'll watch when all three of the indices all start to line up at the same time. Maybe the dollar and the yen will also line up at the same time. Might have something here for later today. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Because it is a lower low. Every time it makes this lower low, it slams back up. Doesn't mean it's going to stay down there. But yeah, wrecked right now, unfortunately, and no bounce. It's kind of a bummer. It's working on getting there now. Again, these are 4-hour candles. Watching that for sure. That's what we're going to be watching today probably is the equities market. The indices of equities. Oil, same situation as last week. We're just working on the struggle bus here. Had some group members make some awesome trades here on this. Long here. I think it was Tuesday and Wednesday, or Wednesday and Thursday. It might have been Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah. Caught the low, both of these. Ran it all the way up. That was just perfect money. It's distributing. This is probably going to end up retesting the high or going into some kind of a range like that and end up coming back. We'll see. And we got a lot of geopolitical tensions here with oil. If Iran strikes Israel or some stupid like that happens, be ready for volatility in oil, because I think it's already pretty much public knowledge that the U.S. is going to strike Iran's oil refineries. If there's some strike, if it, there's going to be a retaliatory strike. Not saying that I agree with it. I'm just saying what's going to happen. And that could, kind of set the oil market topsy-turvy. They're talking about, what was his name? Senator Lindsey Graham already came out multiple times and said that if even one Israeli or U.S. hostage is harmed, they're going to bomb Iran's oil refineries. So say Israel sweeps into Gaza, Iran and Syria attack the north of Israel or whatever. They start sending in missiles and rockets. The U.S. is going to take some production offline. So just be ready for that. As far as oil is concerned, there could be a geopolitical black swan here. Surprised there hasn't been more movement here. I think everybody's waiting for that. There could potentially be a geopolitical black swan because, especially, I think everybody knows that we're waiting to see if Iran is going to get into it. Iran and Syria, there's a lot of oil over there, obviously, and there's a lot of pipelines that run through there that kind of feed the Middle East. That actually come from Russia. Russia has a lot of interest there. Economic interest in going through Syria, those pipelines. And oil refineries and pipelines are probably going to get taken offline, which could potentially do that to oil unless it gets faded. I'm surprised there hasn't been a bigger move on oil. We had a monster move on gold when Israel dropped those flyers saying that they were to evacuate Gaza, that they're coming in. Gold went through the roof and oil didn't move. So if there's some tensions, game theory wise, there could be something happening here. Again, not a political position on it, pretty neutral on that stuff. But at the same time, just be ready for that. If there is some intervention from Iran in this whole situation, expect oil refineries to get taken offline. It's pretty well telegraphed already. The threat is out there, so just be ready for that. Which obviously in a supply and demand market could do all kind of crazy stuff to the price. This candle right here happened. This was already starting to struggle, and this happened. That boop, when Israel dropped those flyers, we watched it live as it happened. Just bloom, gold took off. This was a ridiculous range expansion here on gold. We got a big lower low, and now we have a higher high. Had this on Friday. God had it. And it's still down. Just remember how high this is. For group people know what's going on here. This is very far out of its statistical range right now. Hiccups. Just be cautious with this. It's already broken the high. It's already broken this big range high coming from an extreme low. This has made a massive move in a very short period of time. This did 10%. Gold think about how large the container of gold is globally. How much money it takes to move gold by 10% in 14 days. This moved 10% in 2 weeks. Think about that for a second. That's unheard of. It's almost. So just remember that where we are right now. I'm not saying it's a short right now, but it was at the end of the week last week. It definitely was. And boy, would it be a shame if this ends up just failing and dying here. And it does roll over, and had it to the pip on Friday. Oh man, that would be a shame. But other than that, we're waiting for this to possibly do something like that. Possibly. I think that would be wild if it did. Possible. I don't know. Not going to buy it and hoping that it goes up there. This was a short and it's not now. It has been a short. Right this second, probably not messing with it, but I mean, I think it's pretty clear what's going on here. I mean, we got a lot to ask to beat that. Put it this way. Statistically, the high of the month was back here. That was statistically that was the high of the month. The monthly chart. The monthly chart was blown out statistically back here, and it did almost a whole nother one. This is extremely high. It's extremely blown out. It's extremely overextended. And this all happened off of that, this was already starting to slow down here and roll over. And then Israel dropped those flyers and just boom, we watched it live, exploded. Once everybody realized that was kicking off. So, I don't know. Game theory wise, it makes sense and we're going to watch it. As of right now, I'm obviously not going to be buying this, but that's a whole nother story. Whether or not it's a short, I think is the question. And again, we're going to watch this on lower time frames. As of right now, Friday's short is still holding. Man. Could have been, that's possible that it could have been it. Doesn't always flush out immediately. This thing could pull back for weeks before it flushes that high out. It could pull all the way back to here, do this kind of stuff, and then flush that high out. That doesn't mean it's going to go straight for it. No, it very often does pull back and do something like that, and then goes and breaks the high. It'll almost get there and then stall. Come back and go into a range and then do that. So it doesn't mean that it's going straight up. So just be aware of that. Everybody's saying, oh, this is not a short. It's not a short. Well, it was. Definitely was on Friday. You can see a lot of rejections here. Yeah, just be cautious with it. Careful buying gold right now. Just buying into the frenzy. However, if it does go higher, 100% going to be watching that. Where is that likely to end up? It's funny that the weekly projected high is up here. We talked about this morning in the group. God, almost looked like a swastika. Yikes. Our projected high of the week is right there. Just so happens to line up. Got two things lining up at the same time. It's interesting right there. So we're obviously going to watch that higher. If it does, I'm not buying it, hoping it gets there. But if it does get there, this could be a very, very good, day trade, multi-day swing to the downside kind of situation. This has moved 10% in 14 days. You're really pushing it, trying to buy this up here. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Sometimes trading is about probability. Most of the time, it's about probability. What's more likely to happen than not? What's more likely to happen than the other thing? Just careful with this is all I'm saying. Remember, this is already blown out. Just because it looks one thing, careful with it. So what are the main takeaways here? Dollar's not doing a whole lot. Did bounce. That makes sense. Since we were talking about it, it made sense. Right? We're down here on a range low. It made sense for this to go up. I would actually like for this to retest the high like that. That would kind of make sense. This candle right here, if this closes like that, that's going to change things on the dollar. I didn't want to sell the bottom, obviously, because we're in the sellers. Might watch something like euro dollar for a short. Pound dollar, euro dollar, both very high. I don't know. We'll watch that. If this candle closes like this on the dollar, I think then that's going to give us some insight on what maybe we want to do. Right? Pretty easy to understand what's happening right here. So that's a thing. So we got a potentially stronger dollar here coming in. The yen index is likely to go with it. See where the equities market is. We're waiting on some lower levels here. This could be interesting on a lower low here. We're just running back into some obvious stuff here. We'll see if it stops today and bounces or not. I think the NASDAQ is the cleanest price action. They're all just running right back into these lows. If it wasn't going to be a trending move early, I'll just take another look at it on the low. It actually makes a lot more sense down here. I don't know. A lot of times these levels will barely break. It'll barely crack through it and then pull back up. I have a feeling there's going to be a retracement on this. We got a lower highs here, and now we're working on a lower low down to here. If this comes back into here like this, I could see that pulling back up. Is it more likely that this does that or that? Which is more likely? You know what I'm saying? After breaking the low down here, especially. In probability, what's more likely? So got some stuff to watch here on indices, and that doesn't mean it's going to go immediately. It means we're going to watch the low of the day. We're going to try to figure out where the low of the day is, especially it's breaking the lows right now. So now we have a new structural low here, and we already know what we're targeting. We know why. We got price action reasons and statistical range reasons why that's likely to be the low of the day down here. On the NASDAQ, 14,345-ish. So we're going to watch that. That's going to be important. Equities on the low. I'm just running through this real quick. Oil, again, retest of the high. It's probably going to distribute up here. There's probably going to be like a range that happens up here on oil. I bet we'll take a look at this later on in the week, and you're going to see exactly this. So we'll come back to that. Gold, same situation. Beware the range consolidation up here. Just because this high is higher doesn't mean it has to hit it this week. This has made a 10% move in 14 days. We're extremely blown out going into the end of the month. I think where we end the week this week and where we close the month is going to be very important on this. As of right now, there's no wick on the top of the monthly candle. So we still have another week. So where we close this month on gold is going to be very important. I'm not going to go into monthly candle stuff, but the game theory being that we're at the end of the month after making just a straight up one of the biggest moves that's ever happened in gold. And the likelihood that this pulls back over the next month of November is very high. It's extremely high probability that this pulls back, assuming that we're going to close on the high. We're currently on the high of the monthly candle. We still have one more week. Say this does run up to here. That would be even higher probability. But if this just distributes up here for another week and we close a monthly candle that looks like this, what do you think is going to happen on the next candle? The next monthly candle is going to probably look like that. Right? Going to pull back at least a little bit. Always does. Hard to find one that didn't. Look on the chart and find me a big full body candle that didn't pull back at least a little bit. It's almost hard to find. It does happen, but it's hard to find. And the fact that it's hard to find tells you something about probability. Again, we talk about probability a lot because it matters. We'll come back to this. This may be off limits for now on gold. Unless it's on the high. You know, this is, I don't know, we'll watch it. We'll watch lower time frames here. This may be pushing it here. I can understand a consolidation after that move last week. I mean, last week, you know, you did this, basically. You know, is it likely that it just continues straight up, or is it likely that it just kind of does that for a little bit? Well, we're going to find out. We'll see how these next few candles close. Again, we only have 2 more candles left in the day, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. That we're in now. Then our 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and our 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. market close. So we have 2 more candles left. We have 2 candles left on the 4-hour chart left in the day. Now, are those two candles likely to be up or down? Are these candles likely to do this? Or are these candles likely to do this, kind of thing? Are they likely to be in a range? Are they likely to go down? That's an interesting way to look at it. We only have 2 candles left on the 4-hour chart. And our job at this point is to figure out what direction price is likely to go over the next 2 candles. We got to figure out that direction over the next 2 candles. And given this price action where we are, what's more likely? Again, it's hard to say. There's no clear answer here. So again, cautious. Watch equities today on a lower low. Could be an easy bounce. We'll watch that. Low risk. I think it'd be worth the risk. The dollar's bouncing. It would make sense that there's a higher price on the dollar, the US dollar today. I think that's going to be our thing today. We're going to watch that. I think higher dollar is going to be the thing at the moment. Now the question is going to be, what do we short against the dollar? The pound and the euro have been very strong. This pound looks like this is starting to roll over like that. Could be pound short against the dollar. Maybe something else. Aussie dollar is already coming down to break the low. We figured that, right? We were talking about a flat bottom low that's likely to break the low and then bounce. So there may be something there. I'm not a fan of shorting bottoms like that. Dollar CAD's going up. Yeah, we got to figure something out. We got a strong dollar, likely, and gold's on a high. So that's something to keep in mind too. Anyway, we're going to go back down into lower time frames. Take a second look at this. I think we figured out what we're looking for the rest of the week. Again, the idea is just to get a general understanding of where we are, see what's going on, what's above us, what's below us, what's likely to happen this week. Yeah, got some news, got euro rates, CAD rates, bunch of something else, PMI tomorrow for euro. I don't think that's going to be as big of a deal. Our volatility events of the week are going to be CAD rates and euro rates Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll be ready for that. We'll kind of focus on the CAD and the euro pairs. Try to see if we can catch some volatile move there Wednesday and Thursday. Maybe we can get pre-positioned on that early and get it right. Yeah, got a lot to look at. Still a lot of stuff that's consolidating. Again, the dollar, big question here. It looks better here, like maybe we get a couple candles to the upside. That may be a thing. As far as today is concerned, I definitely watch the equities market given where it is. Breaking the low like this down here, I think that's going to be a thing to watch. Now that it's on a lower low, it looks even better. It's just one of those things where eventually you might have to try it 2 or 3 times, and eventually you're going to catch one that's going to be a big trade. And so I don't know. We'll watch that. Keep the risk chill. It's Monday, so we'll try to keep it chill. Anyway, going to get back to the lower time frame stuff. Buddy, have a good week. Yeah, we'll be back.